Hello. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Take another deep breath in. And another breath out. You can open your eyes now. My name is David, and welcome to Mindful Moments. That was actually the first deep breath I've taken all day. It does feel slightly hypocritical of me to tell you to take a deep breath when I haven't taken a deep breath all day. But then, actually, I think that's the point of this. We are figuring out life together, getting through these things together. So, every time you take a deep breath, I'm taking a deep breath with you. And to be honest, I don't think there's ever been a time of day where I've said, you know what, I really didn't need that deep breath. It's always welcome. As are you. Welcome. I woke up very early today. I went to the gym. I've been not neglecting, but I haven't been in my usual routine, I'd say for the last 2.5 weeks. And I was really feeling the difference. So I just decided, it's quite late in the week, but I decided today we get back on it because that decision is always arbitrary. It does feel nice to start something on a Monday or start something at the beginning of a month, but really you can just start anytime. You just decide, all right, today's the day where I turn it all around. And so I am. I think I had a realization that I really love the gym because it feels sometimes like a tangible embodiment of ideas that I really believe in. Things like you can push yourself as far as your mind will let you. Things like consistency over time is much better than doing too much at once and expecting massive results. Those ideas really come into place in exercise. And I really like seeing them take shape in a physical form because it helps the ideas to be stronger in the other areas of my life as well, in things that aren't possibly as tangible or as visible. I know there's principles to be true and it really reinforces them. The way I exercise and exercising regularly really reinforces those ideas to me. I think that's one of the many reasons that gym and exercise are very important to me. But yeah, I woke up early, went to the gym because I have a really busy day. I have had a busy day and my day continues to be busy after I've recorded this. And so I just really needed the extra kick. Sometimes when I have a lot on my plate, I add something else just to challenge myself a little bit. And then it actually feels like it's my choice. Like it feels like I'm more in control of what I'm doing. I hope that doesn't sound strange. And then obviously one of the legacy things from finishing 75 Hard is that my time management is actually really good. And I know that I can manage time well. So I know that if I add something else to my schedule, I'll be able to get all of it done. So yes, today started very well, is going very well. Hopefully will continue to go very well. And hopefully so will the rest of the week. Today's topic. Today, I would like to talk about insecurity for one specific reason. I went to an event last week. It was a gala, the GWAP Gala. GWAP is spelled GUAP. GWAP is a magazine. It uplifts creatives and for the most part, creatives who probably aren't getting the attention they deserve. GWAP is it's a great organization in the creative space. It's done a lot of work for a lot of people. And they had their first ever gala last year, and they had a repeat of the same gala this year. It's held in the Natural History Museum in London, and every year there's a theme. I really love dressing up, and if there's a theme and I'm going, I will dress according to the theme. This year's theme was Cosmic Dreams. I went kind of galactic. I had a designer skirt, very silver, very metallic, sheer black shirt with loads of what looked like stars over it, and a really cool headpiece and handpieces. I enjoyed styling my outfit for this, and I felt like I looked good. The pictures are really good. They're on my Instagram if you really want to see them. But there was a point in the middle of the gala where everything was going on, where all of a sudden I felt this huge wave of insecurity. I just suddenly felt like I didn't look good and I shouldn't be there. And this lasted probably about 5 minutes. And when I say 5 minutes, I don't mean, that's not figurative. It was about a literal 5 minutes, which doesn't sound very long, but when you're in the middle of something like that, feels like an age. For about 5 minutes, I just sat there and felt really horrible about myself. And then it passed. And there was just something in me that said that I could very easily have just ignored it and glossed over it and let that be that. But I really felt like it's something that I needed to interrogate and something I needed to think about and to talk about. So I've done the former and now I'm doing the latter. And I feel very vulnerable doing that. I'm personal every week, but usually it's things that I've thought about or things that I've wanted to discuss for a while. This is very real time figuring out of thoughts and feelings. So please forgive me if my delivery is a little more stilted than usual. Please give me grace for the things that I'm talking about, because these are, very raw and personal thoughts at the moment. And I'm obviously not going to sit here and list every single thing I've ever been insecure about in my life to you, because it's not your job to listen to that. But I do just want to talk about insecurity, how I felt insecure in the past, how I continue to feel insecure and know that that's something that will probably continue throughout my life, and how I plan to deal with that, and why that's not a bad thing, why that's not something that should ever limit anybody or should ever stop us doing the things that we want to do. That's what I want to talk about today. The main thing I'd say I've carried insecurity about through my life is probably my looks. For a variety of reasons. I think it's a very common thing to be insecure about the way that you look. And I think it very rarely comes from you and only you. I would say maybe until I was maybe 12 or 13, it wasn't something I ever really thought about. And then obviously you're in school, you're in secondary school, you have the people around you, people say things about you, you read things and look at things on the internet. And obviously I can only discuss this from a male perspective. Having talked to my female friends, I know that it's almost, especially in the 2000s and the 2010s, there were things printed and said that if anybody said that kind of thing now would correctly be greeted with horror, but that was just very normalized back then. So I think that most people, if not all of us at some point, have had some issue or some form of insecurity around something about the way that we look. That's something that I definitely grew out of with age as I became an adult, and as I matured, a lot of that left naturally. But of course, I think we're very human beings, we're very self-critical a lot of the time. And I think that's just an easy area to criticize because it's something that's constantly discussed. I feel like this generation now, we see ourselves and our reflections probably more than any previously. Almost everything is a reflective surface who can take a picture of you. So it's not a surprising thing to ever be insecure about those things. It is a difficult thing, and it's something that's hard to deal with. I definitely would say at the moment, this is the best I've ever felt about the way I look for two reasons. One, because I am much better at expressing myself now. I look the way pretty much I want to look. I have my hair a certain way. I dress how I like to. I have tattoos which make me feel more like myself, all of that kind of stuff. And it's taken me a while to find those things and to have and to make those choices. But also, I think I've truly come to terms with the fact and truly accepted as fact that it doesn't really matter all that much. I used to say that to myself when I was younger as a fake it till you make it kind of thing. It doesn't matter how someone looks. It doesn't matter how I look. But now when I say that, I truly do mean it. And that I know that most people value other things far more than that, because I value other things far more than that. That said, there does need to be a healthy balance around these things. And the fact that it's not the most important thing doesn't mean it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing to care about those things either. My false dawn of getting over insecurity, and especially insecurity about the way I looked, was when I told myself it doesn't matter at all. Nobody's judgment can faze me. It doesn't matter. It never matters. And it never will matter. Because that wasn't true. And that would be to pretend that I don't care about those things, which I do. I do care about the way I look. It's about finding a healthy balance, but it's impossible to do that if you try to pretend that it doesn't matter and you don't care. So I had to accept all of those things before I was able to even address the problem and try and find some kind of healthy balance. And as I said, I feel like the balance I have now is the healthiest it's ever been. I don't think it's the healthiest it could be. I continue to work on it. I think one of the things that's very hard, near impossible actually, well, I think something that I should never try to do again is pretend that I don't care what anyone thinks and I will not accept any validation that's external to me. Because external judgment is a constant from the second we're born. When you're in school, even when you're having checkups at the doctor and you're being weighed and measured, you're being compared to other human beings. And we're constantly being compared to other human beings and constantly being shown standards and averages and all that kind of stuff that relate to us. And we're always being judged constantly. So to try to pretend that I don't care about being judged at all or never care what anyone thinks is a futile exercise, even more so now than it's ever been, because of course I post content for a living. What people think, about the things I do matters. I can't pretend I don't care what anybody thinks because I create things all the time. I want people to engage and identify with them. I have to care what people think. To pretend otherwise in pretense that it's good for me would be very wrong. The best way to go about it, I am finding and have found, is to pick the sources of external validation that matter most. It's the obvious ones. It's for me, my girlfriend, my close friends, my family, my managers. If someone I respect tells me things that I want to hear or need to hear, basically the people I respect expect them to tell me the truth. And when they give me their opinions, I listen to those opinions because those are the opinions I trust and respect. Rather than taking on everything anyone ever says about me, I really try to value certain opinions, which helps me to discard opinions that don't really matter as much. Random people say nasty things to me all the time. It's part of being on the internet all the time. But I feel very good at discarding those opinions because they are opinions, but they don't really matter to me, nor should they. They're not personal. They're not people who know me. Easier said than done, but very much easier with practice. And something that I'm really doing is leaning in to when I feel these uncomfortable feelings, when I feel these insecurities. And this is insecurity in general. Trying to pretend that it doesn't exist or trying to pretend I'm not insecure about these things just means I cover them up with other things. And I end up seeing how it comes out in other behaviors because I'm trying to pretend I'm not feeling insecure about these things. In previous times, I've found myself being really desperate, overly desperate for external validation and overly desperate for compliments and people to uplift me and tell me good things about myself because I was trying to pretend I didn't care about the way I looked and all that kind of stuff when really I did. And so it made me it put me even more in need of validation that I wasn't even allowing myself to give myself because I was trying to pretend I didn't care. I hope that made sense. It was a little bit convoluted. Because I wasn't allowing myself to care or to acknowledge that I cared, I couldn't even get the internal validation that you need for external validation to be healthy. There we go. That was it. And that's something that I really never want to go back to doing, which is why when I have a moment like I had the other day, I really do need to zero in on it and think, why did this happen? Why did this? What was the change? What was the shift? I also think the best advice I ever got, or the best thing I ever heard on dealing with insecurity, was to not let it run my life or change my actions. If we stick with my insecurity over the way I looked, for example. When I started going to the gym, the way I looked changed. And I much preferred the way I looked after I'd been going to the gym, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. But I remember looking for pictures of me previously to compare, to do the whole progress left and right. This is what I looked like before, this is what I looked like after. And I realized I couldn't find many pictures of myself at all. I'm not even talking about pictures of me shirtless posing, anything like that. Just generally pictures of myself that I'd allowed to be taken on me or that I'd taken of myself. I couldn't find many of them at all. And I realized that I hadn't allowed myself to be in pictures or take pictures of myself because of those insecurities. And it really hurt then, and it still hurts now, that version of myself never got the love and validation that he deserved. And it's for me, it is one of my big regrets. I try not to regret too much in life, but I do really regret the fact that version of myself, I can't go back. I wish I could go back, take all the pictures of him in the world and tell him that he shouldn't wait till he looks a certain way or thinks he deserves pictures of himself to take pictures of himself. That there were many things, many wonderful things about him, and he shouldn't let the insecurities that he feels take him over and not let him enjoy that part of his life. And I think it's very interesting, as soon as you talk about yourself or see yourself as another person, that sometimes when we see how cruel we've been to ourselves and how cruel we can be to ourselves. And of course, I can't go back to that version of myself and give him what he deserved. The only thing that I can do is treat the current version of myself with that level of compassion. Something I speak about a lot, probably every week, are the ways in which I'm trying to improve and I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to better myself. Something that I think I tend to overlook quite often is giving my current self the love and validation that I deserve and looking at the positives in me as a person now, rather than always looking to the person that I want to be. And I do believe that I really need to do more of that. I do think that this current state of insecurity might be because I'm not allowing myself to see the good things about myself and the good in me and the things I am doing well and the things I do deserve to be praised for. So that's really, it was a bit of a wake up call. And it's always nice when you can get a wake up call it's not fatal. It's not dramatic. 5 minutes of insecurity at an event, in the grand scheme of things, no big deal. But definitely a warning sign that I needed. And something to indicate that I shouldn't continue dealing with things this way. I shouldn't continue going this way. It's a good reminder that the work is always ongoing. Life changes around us, circumstances change. Things that you may think you've dealt with before can come back. That doesn't erase the progress that I've made, far from it. In fact, me even being able to reason out and think of and identify the reasons that I feel this way indicates huge progress. I couldn't have done that. Thought process wouldn't have happened 3 years ago. So I know that I'm on the right track in many ways. This is the beginning of me giving myself a little bit of the praise I deserve. Good for me. I made progress on this journey. In all seriousness, I think I was being given a sign. I am being given a sign that I do need to, in order to help myself in my insecurity, just let myself know that I am doing okay, and let myself know the ways in which I am doing a good job already, and I am enough, and I am sufficient, and all of those good things. You can even hear in the way that I was struggling to do this out loud. All of this has felt very uncomfortable and not too polished, which I'm not huge on, but this is also part of it. It's not perfect every week. It's not. I don't always know. I don't always have the right idea. I don't always have the right conclusions. But I do think, after talking about it and after thinking about it a lot, that I need to be kinder to myself in the present. And that will help with my general insecurity. It's actually always okay to be insecure. I do feel like I never want to let insecurity dictate or dominate my life. Just because I don't feel like I look good on a certain day, that doesn't mean I shouldn't put on the outfit I plan to and go out there and look good. I can still do those things. I should still go and do those things. And I should, especially because most of the time insecurity, well, not most of the time, all the time, insecurity is a very personal thing. It comes from us, which means 99% of the time, other people aren't thinking about what we're thinking about. I guarantee I don't think that anybody picked up on the insecurity that I was feeling on that night. But I was obviously feeling it very strongly. If I had gone home or had decided not to get any pictures because I'd been feeling that insecurity, it would have been a real shame. And nobody would ever have really known that that had gone on in the first place. So I think not depriving myself because I feel insecurity is something that I really need to make sure that I do. Making sure that I still let myself have the fullness of life despite not always feeling the most secure about myself and the things going on around me. We shouldn't wait to enjoy it, shouldn't postpone our enjoyment until we feel like we merit it, we've deserved it, we've earned it, and we've got over this thing that's supposedly wrong with us that no one else is really seeing. It's a journey. It's something that I'm obviously going to continue to work on and I continue to work through. But I do feel much better for having thought about and spoken about it. So thank you. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for being here. I hope this week is good to you. Whatever you're doing this week, I hope you have a wonderful one.